How's it going, guys? I've been hearing a lot of interesting chatter from friends about the topic of Aliyah to Israel. Why is this topic coming up? Because everybody suddenly, by everybody I mean most of the people that I know who are Torah observant Jews in various communities, both in New York and outside of New York, all of a sudden are in the Aliyah spirit, right? Why? Because, or at least they're thinking about it, because, we're being attacked. And it's time to make Aliyah, you know? So, I'm thinking to myself, like, where were these people before? And I'm asking this because, I'm going to speak directly to you guys. You pray 3 times a day, at least that's the idea. And in your prayers, every single prayer you're mentioning Jerusalem, 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 returning to Jerusalem, rebuilding Jerusalem. It talks about Zion, all these things. You're on Shabbat. You're doing Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after the meal, after the bread. You're mentioning Jerusalem, right? Okay, we're talking about it. We're sitting here talking about it, and but we're not doing anything about it. Apart from treating Israel like it's basically a what's called the Cancun. I call it the Cancun in the Middle East. You guys treat it like it's some vacation spot. You go and you buy an apartment in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv or wherever, so they can keep it for the Hagim, for the holidays. You keep it empty most of the year. You drive up the real estate prices, so that people like myself have to pay more for apartments. So I'll be moving there soon. Yeah, that's how you guys forget that, like, we didn't have this situation maybe 20 or 30 years ago, where you could just go and you can buy an apartment, and in Israel, and just keep it empty for the whole year and just come there on Hagim and, send your kids to gap year after high school. That's what Israel is good for. It's good for gap year, gap year, and then our kids are going to go to college and become a, productive member of American society, right? Nothing wrong with that. But it's interesting to me. It's just interesting to me how Jews are suddenly waking up to Aliyah. We should make Aliyah because why? Because we're physically threatened. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to enumerate all the reasons to make Aliyah, apart from being hacked up with a machete. Reason number 1, it's our home. Number 2, we pray for it. We want to return there. Number 3, in a short period of time, the country or I guess the state, for all its flaws, for all its issues, and Lord knows I can sit here and enumerate all the issues that it's had internally, everything from the founders of the state of Israel, to stuff that's going on today with the elections and inability to form a coalition. Any person with any, as I said in the previous video, any lens can see that the fact that we have a government and the fact that we've come back to our land for the first time in 2,000 years is basically a sign of some kind of a process. It's a sign of the Geulah process. Geulah is a process. Yes, it's true that the arrival of Moshiach is an instantaneous thing. It could happen at any moment, and it could be instantaneous, and la la la, and all these things. But leading up to that moment, there's a process. You know how our wonderful there's a basketball player. His name is Joel Embiid. He says trust the. His nickname is the process because he said trust the process. You gotta trust the process. And there's a process happening. There are things happening in Israel that weren't happening 5 years ago or 10 years ago, right? there's developments that are happening, economic, social, you name it, spiritual, that are happening in Israel that weren't happening even 5 years ago, even 10 years ago. Friends, I mean, I'll give you an example. You have musicians, Balei Tshuva musicians, people who grew up secular and became religious later in life, playing, who, for example, Eviatar Banai or Ishai Ribo. People, these people are playing clubs in Tel Aviv, right? And they're singing lyrics, right? Torah lyrics. The lyrics in their songs are from the Torah, from the Zohar, from all kinds of Jewish sources. And the audience is secular, sometimes anti-religious people in Tel Aviv. And they're singing along, and they don't even know that they're singing Torah, but they're singing Torah. And so my question is, do the Jews in the United States, Orthodox or non-Orthodox, know that this is happening? Some do, most don't. There are so many things happening in Israel right now. There's so many revolutions and just metamorphoses happening in Israel that are just turning the Jewish world on and it's for the better, upside down. Turning the Jewish world upside down. There's so much what I call hidden achdus, hidden unity in Israel that people never get to see. All they see is that there's the religious and the secular society. They are what is it called? They're divided. They're against each other. They're this. They're that. Yeah, you have unfortunately politicians who walk around, who roam around the country, who put out advertisements on television to divide and conquer. They want to divide segments of society. They want to pit them against each other. And they do that, unfortunately. But you know what? On a day-to-day level, and I'm speaking as a person who used to live there, who's going to move back there, on a day-to-day level, it's not the case. People, there is unity, there is achdus, there is more than what in Israel than what you see in the media and what you see on television and in the newspapers and all these things. There's obviously more than meets the eye. If you live there, you would know. And even so, while living there, you have to have the right lens. So, friends, honestly, and I actually saw somebody write, people shouldn't make Aliyah because they're physically threatened in America or in the diaspora. They should make Aliyah because they want to. Because out of love, out of love for the land and out of love for this. Listen, it's true. It's true. They should. That's the reason they should. Unfortunately, as a friend of mine pointed out a few hours ago, people in the diaspora, especially Western countries, are, listen, for lack of a better term, they're spoiled rotten to the core. They're very comfortable. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was talking to somebody who's well off, Torah observant Jew. And for them to move to Israel would not, would be like this. It wouldn't be an issue. But they say, well, and they actually admitted. She said, but we're really, at the end of the day, we're just really comfortable here. We're really, really comfortable here. We have our nice big house. These people are billionaires or multimillionaires. They have a nice big house. They have they're comfortable. Life here is comfortable. So I always say, when the pain of stagnation starts to be greater than the pain of change, that's when people spring into action, right? So these people are so drowning or so blocked by physicality, by materialism, that they don't even know that they're stagnant. They think that their lives are progressing forward. They're having kids, and then they have grandkids, and they have lives, and they go on trips, and they go here, and they go there. They make money. They have income. They have this. They have that. But what they don't realize is that at the moment, from the scope of Jewish history, from the vantage point of what's happening in Jewish history, they are actually stagnant. And when they wake up from that, slumber, and they realize that they're stagnant, then they're going to say, "Oh my God." Then something's going to kick in, and then they're going to say, and then after a while, they're going to be like, this stagnation is painful. maybe I should change something. Maybe I should change my location where I live. Maybe I should look into maybe going home. As difficult as that would be, as in, there's challenges. The Talmud says that Israel is acquired with isurim, with trials and tribulations and pain. For some people it's actually being in the land and dealing with all the nonsense there, the bureaucracy, all these things. For some people it's being there, like myself, being there and then having to leave and having to, sit in the diaspora and pine over it for 6 years, Even despite the fact that I travel there every year for business and to visit friends. Even so, traveling there for a month, it's not like living there. I always have to leave. That's my challenge. So, listen, friends, there are other reasons. There are other reasons to make Aliyah. We should not make Aliyah because we're threatened by a machete or a gun or whatever it is. There are very, very good reasons why you should come to Israel. I can list you many reasons. I'm not going to do it in this video, but I can list you many reasons. Listen, I don't know if that's the answer to these issues that we're having here. I had a friend of mine message me. He's like, "Listen, man, that's not the full picture. What you're saying." He said that a lot of Jews in America, especially in New York, listen, they're not exactly behaving in the way they're supposed to be behaving, especially Torah Jews. And I said, "Yeah, you're right, but that doesn't mean that anti-Semites won't find another reason to attack us. Listen, we can be the nicest people ever. We can do all the honest business and all this, all that. It doesn't matter. They'll find another reason to attack us. As if to say, you don't have like fraudulent businessmen who are non-Jews, but you know what? Nobody ever says, 'Oh, look at those Germans at it again,' or look at those, Irishmen, Italians at it again. Okay, yeah, it's cute. You see the Italian mafia guy. Okay, yeah, Italian. Oh, those Italians. The whole world doesn't hate Italian mafia guys, but you know what? The whole world hates Jews when we screw up. And there's a deep spiritual Kabbalistic reason for that, which I won't get into in this video. But apart from that, the world is going to figure out reasons to hate us. We don't need to give them reasons. We don't need to invent new reasons. Yeah, friends, so with regards to Israel, yeah, you shouldn't go to Israel because you feel threatened here, because, listen, Israel has its own, like my friend of mine said, that Israel has its own issues with security and all these things. You should go there because you're davening for it 3 times a day. You're davening for it 3 times a day. You're saying Birkat HaMazon. You're saying all these things. So now the question is, are you serious about that? When you're saying these things 3 times a day, when you're reading Birkat HaMazon, when you're reading Aliyah, the blessing after you eat, mezonot, are you serious about that? Are you actually serious about the fact that you want, Jerusalem and Zion to be built? Like, I always ask the question, like, are these billionaires, multimillionaires, real estate people, are they actually serious about this? Do they know what they're, it's like, be careful what you wish for. Do you know what you're wishing for? Or are you guys just going through the motions? Is it just rote? Is it something you learned in yeshiva? Listen, to me, I'm telling you, maybe it's just I'm the naive, what they call Baal Tshuva, a person that came to all this when I was 30 years old. To me, the words on those pages in my siddur, I don't have my siddur in front of me here, they're very real. They're very, very real. Some of those things are happening right before my eyes, like Kibbutz Galiot and Gathering of the Exiles. I'll tell you guys, like, how I know the first time I knew, and this is before I even kept Shabbat or studied any Torah, I was at a wedding, my friend's wedding in 2008, and he got married in Netanya, and so we're there, we're at this table, and there's a guy there, an Ashkenazi Jewish guy from California. I'm sorry, that was another couple. Yes, Ashkenazi Jewish guy from California, and his Yemenite wife. Yemenite Israeli wife, and I saw the little baby. They just had a baby, and then I saw another couple, a guy from a really like kind of pasty guy from South Africa, Ashkenazi Jew, with a Moroccan wife, and I said to myself, where else in the world are you going to see this? Where else in the world are you going to see Jews from completely different cultures, from completely different what's called, exile locations come together, and continue the nation, or build the nation and build a whole new version and face of the nation. Jews 2.0 or Jews 3.0. And I looked at this and I'm like, wow, we're coming back. I didn't even know what it was called. I didn't even know the term kibbutz galuyot. I learned that later. I was like, wow, so this is. And then I looked back on this event and I was like, this is kibbutz galuyot. I saw that. I saw it with my own eyes and I was like, wow, this is incredible. And that's when my journey began and all these things. So friends, it just really comes down to, are the words in the Siddur, on the pages of the Siddur, real to you or not? I'm not saying they are, they're not. I'm just saying, maybe do some soul searching. Maybe the next time you read the Amidah, the Shemona Esrei, the 18 blessings, really try to ask yourself, do I really want this stuff? All the stuff that's enumerated in those blessings, do I actually really want that stuff to happen? And don't say, well, I want it to happen when Mashiach comes, it'll happen, he'll make it happen. No, it's a process. You're participating in it. This is a participatory nation. It's a participatory process. You're not just sitting. Again, as my friend says, Israel is not a football team, and diaspora Jews are not fans. We're here to participate. Whether it's, if you can't make Aliyah, nobody's saying you should go get up and make Aliyah tomorrow, but if you're standing at Landau's, Stiebel on Avenue L in Brooklyn, and you're reading the Shemona Esrei, and it's just words, and it's just you're fulfilling your obligation before Hashem, what's called Lishma, and that's all you're doing. Okay, maybe you have kavanah, maybe you have some intention. If that's all that is, ladies and gentlemen, you're missing it. I'm sorry, you're missing it. Every tzaddik, every holy person in our nation, like dating back to ever since we even had the exile, when they were reading, no matter where they were, whether it was a Morocco or Turkey or Spain or Egypt or wherever they were sitting, reading the Siddur, they were reading it with the intention of, I want this to happen today. I want this to happen now, and I'm willing to participate in making that happen. We know that because the Ramban went to Jerusalem and built a shul, built a synagogue. We know that because Arizal and all these people, they were in Sfat. We know that all these tzaddikim, the students of the Gaon, Vilna went to Israel. They went to a place like Hebron, whatever it is, and they participated in building the land because to them these words weren't just like, oh, it's nice. It's actionable reality. So, friends, if you're thinking about Aliyah, don't think about Aliyah because you're getting shot or you're getting machete. Think about Aliyah because of what it says in your Siddur and because of what it says in the Torah. That's my message to you. Because if you're gonna just run away because of some guy with a knife and some guy with a gun, I'll tell you this: you could just as easily run away from, like somebody said, you could just as easily run away from Israel because of Arabs with guns and Arabs with knives. That's it, guys.